The 1970s opened with crisis and composure. In April 1970, an oxygen tank explosion crippled Apollo 13, forcing Jim Lovell, Jack Swigert, and Fred Hayes to power down, use the lunar module as a lifeboat, and slingshot home under Mission Control's improvised procedures. In South Asia, a new nation was born. After a brutal conflict and India's intervention, East Pakistan became Bangladesh in December 1971 amid massive displacement. The same year, a quiet tech spark lit the decade. Intel's 4004 microprocessor arrived in 1971, kicking off the personal computing revolution that would soon reshape work and culture. In February 1972, Nixon's handshake in Beijing with Mao and Zhou Enlai produced the Shanghai Communiqué and rewired Cold War geometry and trade. That spring also gave the decade one of its defining films, The Godfather, 1972, a cultural touchstone for how power, family, and America were portrayed on screen. The Middle East flared in October 1973 when Egypt and Syria attacked on Yom Kippur. Israel countered, the superpowers resupplied allies, and Arab oil producers imposed an embargo that quadrupled prices and reordered energy policy from Washington to Tokyo. In August 1974, the Watergate scandal forced Richard Nixon to resign, the first U.S. president to do so, sharpening norms around executive accountability. War's long tail reached its endpoint in April 1975 as Saigon fell, helicopters lifted the last Americans out, and the Vietnam War ended. In China, 1976 marked a hinge. Mao Zedong died, the Gang of Four fell, and the path opened for Deng-era reforms that would transform the economy. The following year looked outward and sounded different. In 1977, NASA launched Voyagers 1 and 2 toward the outer planets, while the Bee Gees' Stayin' Alive drove disco to its global peak, science aiming for interstellar space as dance floors filled back on Earth. Diplomacy beat the odds in September 1978, when Anwar Sadat and Menachem Begin, brokered by Jimmy Carter at Camp David, agreed on a framework that led to the Egypt-Israel peace treaty and ended a state of war dating to 1948. The decade closed in upheaval. In 1979, Iran's revolution toppled the Shah. Ayatollah Khomeini returned to establish an Islamic republic. And in November, students seized the U.S. Embassy, taking 52 hostages and recasting regional power and U.S. policy heading into the 1980s. 10 years, 10 pivots. Averted disaster in space, a nation born, a Silicon spark, a Cold War thaw, an oil shock, a presidency undone, a long war ended, a post-Mao pivot, a rare Middle East peace, and a revolution that still echoes.